Namaskar and welcome to Sansad Television. I am Vishal Dahiya and you're watching our show Perspective, where we bring you detailed analysis of key national and international issues. Today we're going to talk about the changing patterns of monsoon in India. Now, while torrential rains have caused floods in rivers at several places, destroying infrastructure and extracting a heavy toll on life and property, the opposite is also being witnessed, with large areas suffering drought and shortage of water. Several districts have had an extreme change in rainfall pattern over the last 2 weeks. As many as 163 districts in Tamil Nadu, other pockets of South India and parts of the Indo-Gangetic plain in Uttarakhand, West Bengal and Haryana went from witnessing excess rainfall to deficient rainfall in the weeks ending 10th of August and 17th of August. During the same time period, in fact, 167 districts in Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Maharashtra and Odisha went from deficient to excess rainfall. Now, rainfall for the country as a whole for the month of July was 327.7 millimeter, which is 17% more than the long period average, making it the second highest since 2001 after 2005. Now, so what are the reasons behind these changing patterns of monsoon? How does it impact us? And what can be done to tackle the challenges which we now face because of these changing patterns of monsoon in India? And for more on this, we're joined by a distinguished panel of experts. Let me first introduce them to you. Beginning with, we have with us the Director General of IMD, India Meteorological Department, Dr. Mrityunjay Mahapatra, who is joining us. We also have with us Dr. Vibha Dhawan. She is the Director General of TERI, and Dr. Rajesh Kumar Mal is also joining us. He is the Dean and Head of the Institute of Environment and Sustainable Development at Banaras Hindu University in Uttar Pradesh. Welcome, all of you, to Sansad TV. I'll begin with you, Dr. Mahapatra, and let's first start by, understanding a bit more about these numbers which I mentioned, and I'm pretty sure you will have more numbers to share with us to make us understand, how have things changed over the years, and specifically in this monsoon season, the changes which we are witnessing. One half of the country, almost 163 districts, have gone from deficient to excessive, and the other half, almost the same number, has gone from excessive to deficient.
Yeah, thank you, Vishalji. If you look at the southwest monsoon rainfall pattern this year, it is a typical rainfall pattern of a good monsoon year. Considering the rainfall from past June until today, the rainfall has been normal to excess over 29 meteorological subdivisions out of 36 meteorological subdivisions. It includes the subdivisions in central India and the peninsular India, northeastern India also. But at the same time, there are 7 meteorological subdivisions which have been deficient during this period. And that includes UP, Bihar, Jharkhand, Gangetic West Bengal, and Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura, and Kerala. Now, if you just look at the normal rainfall distribution over these particular subdivisions and the actual rainfall this year, so usually Kerala gets a high amount of rainfall. Therefore, a deficiency of about, say, 21% is not so serious. But in UP, the deficiency is about 40% in Western UP, and about 47% in Eastern UP. In Bihar, it is 41% deficient, and Jharkhand and Gangetic West Bengal are about 27 and 30% deficient, respectively.
Okay.
So basically, the Gangetic plains, starting with Western UP up to Gangetic West Bengal, that has been most affected this year in terms of deficient rainfall and hence its impact. But out of these 5 subdivisions, I will say that Gangetic West Bengal and Jharkhand has received normal to excess rainfall in the month of August.
Okay.
Therefore, deficient rainfall, which was continuing in June and July, that has been reduced. And at the same time, Uttar Pradesh continue to get deficient rainfall starting from June, July, and then August itself. Therefore, severity of deficiency in the rainfall distribution, I would say, is maximum, and its impact is also maximum in UP, followed by Bihar. And on the other hand, there has been excess rainfall leading to the floods, especially in the central parts of the country and the west coast region, starting with Odisha up to Gujarat. And it has been mainly because of the active monsoon conditions in association with the low pressure systems which have developed this year. Till now, 9 low pressure systems have developed, including 4 depressions or deep depressions. And all these systems have developed over the North Bay of Bengal and moved close to North Odisha and moved towards Rajasthan or Gujarat. So therefore, continuously, South India and Central India got excess rainfall, but Gangetic plains became the deficient rainfall.
Dr. Mahapatra, you've said 2 significant things. One, of course, is the numbers in terms of how the monsoon has progressed over the period of past 2 months almost across the country in various areas. And the second one, when we're talking about the changing pattern, you're saying that it's because of the low pressure areas being developed. Now, the question which I'm asking and which we want to understand here is this change in pattern only unique to this year, or is this something which we have been witnessing for the past few years now?
Monsoon is a large-scale circulation, and it shows large-scale interannual variations and variation from year to year, and also the intra-seasonal variation within the season itself, as we saw this year. It was 92%, that is 8% deficient in the month of June for the country as a whole. It was 10% excess in the month of July. And so far, it is about 17% excess in the month of August. So that is a part of intra-seasonal variation. But when you consider the data for 100 years, what we find that the total amount of rainfall for the country as a whole does not show any trend, but it shows the rising trend and falling trend in different parts of the country. For example, the total amount of rainfall in the monsoon season over northeastern states and some parts of the eastern India, including eastern UP, Bihar, Jharkhand, it shows a decreasing trend of rainfall. At the same time, the western part, like Maharashtra, Kutch, and Rajasthan, it shows a rising trend in rainfall activity for the season as a whole. Apart from that, within the season itself, though the total amount of rainfall remains almost same, but there is a changing pattern in the distribution of rainfall within the season. The number of light rainfall days, number of moderate rainfall days are decreasing. At the same time, number of very heavy rainfall days are increasing, which is causing the threat in terms of the floods. The third point is that the variability, the year-to-year variability and variability within the season itself has also increased, and thus leading to subsequent droughts and floods.
Dr. Dhawan, I'd like to bring you in here, in terms of your views and analysis of this changing pattern, as, Dr. Mahapatra was pointing out, and it's pretty much clear as well that, of course, when we look at monsoon, the rainfall, it can't be just 1 year and it can't be just few years as well. We will have to look at the long term or long period average as well. So according to you, what are the, reasons or rationale behind what we are witnessing now and perhaps since past few years?
Thank you very much. And Dr. Mahapatra has very clearly given the statistics, what is happening in India this year. I'd also like to draw your attention to a particular report which was brought out by Ministry of Earth Sciences way back in 2020, the assessment of climate change over the Indian region. Because what is happening exactly is that the Earth is warming up. And with the result, if we look at the Arabian Sea over last 1 decade, there is high evaporation, which increases the chances of the formation of a low pressure area. And on some occasions, these low pressure systems result in the formation of elongated regions carrying winds and rains. And that causes widespread rainfall. Now, one thing which I like to draw everyone's attention is, as rightly said, that each year is perhaps going to be different from the earlier year. And it is not just what is happening in India. It is first is the regional impact of GHG emission, but ultimately it is what is happening at the global level. So that is going to have impact. We are also looking at what is happening, the melting of glaciers. So the widespread destruction which is happening in our hilly terrain is all due to climate change. It is the cloud, whether it is cloud burst, whether it is glacier melting and sudden water in the rivers and so on. So more or less we can correlate and with the climate change, and what was said or predicted was not that there is going to be impact on the overall rainfall. It was that we are going to have extremes, and extremes in the sense that areas where we were having rains earlier, they might fall deficit in the rainfall, and those areas where there were less of rains, they might get flooded.
Okay.
And that's what is happening in the country today.
Okay, okay. Dr. Mal, I'd like to, bring you here as well. In terms of how would you analyze this changing pattern in monsoon when we are looking at either the, within a particular season or the long-term average, as Dr. Mahapatra was also, giving us detailed figures?
So now we can focus on 2-3 points, as Dr. Mahapatra also said about that. 2-3 points we are studying, and now last 10 or 20 years we are focusing on several studies. Like weakening of monsoon circulation, number 1. Number 2, too much and too little water in a season. Number 3, rainy days and intensity of rainfall. 3 things are there. Apart from, we all know about the global warming. Number 8, what we are discussing, and several studies pointed out that although IMD scientists also and Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology, Ministry of Earth Sciences, and several IITs predicted that weakening of monsoon circulation means there is warming of due to warming of our sea, adjacent sea, there is some disturbance in circulation pattern is also observed due to this high and low pressure areas. So this is the also affecting our circulation pattern, our rainfall in Indo-Gangetic plain or other areas. Maybe Professor Dr. Mahapatra will point it out more on this, how they are thinking about, how India Meteorological Department are thinking about. Number 2, too much and too little water in a monsoon season. We are just discussing about 10. Means number of rainy days is decreasing, what we are witnessing in last 50 or 100 years data set of rainfall. Although total rainfall not, we are getting any information about if total rainfall decreasing and increasing. Although we are getting 30-year cyclicity of the rainfall. If you go to last 100 years, 30-year rainfall increasing pattern, 30-year decreasing pattern, then increasing pattern. So these are the some interesting pattern of rainfall. Maybe this 30 years pattern will maybe we're getting different. So too much, too little water I was discussing about. Just we find out drought in situation in Bihar and Jharkhand and other pattern. But maybe in next month in September, we get more and more rainfall, flooded situation will be there, and our average should be maintained.
So situation will change within the season itself?
Maybe this will be, this is due to the pattern of physics. There are several physics available behind this all forces, high and low pressure area.
No, this is exactly what the data is also pointing out, Dr. Mal, because 163 districts have gone from excess to deficient, and then almost the equal number of districts have gone from deficient to excess as well within the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, so we find out that in June sometimes too heavy rainfall happening in several parts of country. Maybe in July we are not witnessing rainfall. Then August in so much high rainfall, and in September no rainfall. Like that also in inter season also we are witnessing that thing. So it is very difficult to predict. Drought is a very much questionable about that our policymaker, how we understand about the India Meteorological Department problem also, how they can going to declare are helping to our policymaker about drought, other things, the problem is there.
Okay.
So this type of things are happening. So although we are confirmed about something, increasing of heavy rainfall events is increasing last 100 years also, and then next 100 years is also predicted. Next number of rainy days is going to decrease, and also several studies focusing that westward shifting of rainfall. Our western part of country, you see in Rajasthan, in Gujarat and other part, number of rainfall event is increasing, whether they are not experiencing about the flood situation. Now they are experiencing about that.
Okay.
And also sometimes in southern country, also maybe Telangana and Andhra Pradesh also, too many of these things, especially Gujarat and Rajasthan. Maybe this thing I am discussing about as an academician,
okay,
not as a India Meteorological Department can be
Indeed,
more
indeed,
focus on that.
indeed. Let's take the data too. Dr. Mahapatra here. Dr. Mahapatra, how would you analyze that particular point which has been raised by Dr. Mal here in terms of this is what we've seen. In terms of data set for the past 30 odd years or the next 20 odd years, when we can make a rough prediction as to how things are moving ahead. But more importantly, in the present scenario, the number of rainy days is going down, but the number of heavy rainfall days is going up as well, causing problems such as floods also. And a related one, as Dr. Dhawan was also referring to, all this because of the global warming, the climate change, which is leading to it. Is that right, Dr. Mahapatra?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, when you consider the climate change, it has got three main aspects. One is the science of climate change. Then second one is the adaptation towards climate change. And third one is the mitigation aspects for the climate change. And India Meteorological Department, Minister of Earth Sciences, is dealing with the first component, the science part. There's a lot of studies, as Madam was referring to. We have brought out a book on various aspects of the scientific facts about the climate change. While doing that, again, there are three aspects. One is the detection of climate change, whether really climate has changed. The second one is that if at all there is a change, what is the attribution? What is the reason for that? And third one comes as the projection. So what is happening or what will happen during next 50 years or next 100 years?
Okay.
Now, as far as extreme weather events are concerned, as both Madam and Dr. Paul was talking about, yes, there is an impact. The first and foremost impact of the climate change is on the extreme weather events. Globally, the frequency of heavy rainfall events in the tropical region is increasing because of the impact of the climate change. Because as the temperature increases, the water holding capacity of the atmosphere increases. At the same time, the atmosphere becomes more unstable. And hence, you can have more frequent and more intense heavy rainfall, especially when there is a formation of low pressure systems. In India as a whole, actually, if you look at the statistics, about 13 low pressure systems developed during the monsoon season, including 5 monsoon depressions. And total 57 days of occurrence of low pressure is found in the monsoon season, 1st June, 30 September. About 30% of the rainfall what occurs during the season is attributed to these low pressure systems.
Okay.
And the data from 1901 onwards, if I analyze, the trend shows that frequency of monsoon depression has decreased, but the frequency of low pressure systems has increased, and hence it has compensated the total amount of rainfall. But at the same time, the frequency of heavy rainfall is increased because of these two reasons. That because of the warmer environment, moisture holding capacity is more, and when there is a low pressure systems, it causes more rainfall. And second one is the atmosphere has become more unstable compared to the previous one. It is a proven fact.
Okay.
Similarly, as Dr. Moore was talking about, Madam was talking about, the sea surface temperature is also increasing, and because of that, also it is pumping moisture into the atmosphere. It is also changing the regional circulation patterns, and hence it is found that over the Arabian Sea, the frequency of extremely severe cyclone storms have increased. But over the Bay of Bengal, there is no change. Whatever occurring earlier, now also it is occurring in the same manner.
Okay.
But the rate of intensification of the systems has increased in both Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea.
Okay.
Considering the thunderstorms, yes, with the rising temperature, the frequency of thunderstorms has increased over different parts, especially the eastern parts of the country, which is very prone for thunderstorms. And according to the lightning frequency also shows a rising trend.
Okay.
The heat waves, it is the first and foremost fallout of the rising temperature. Yes, frequency, intensity, and duration of heat waves have also increased over the northern parts of the country and central parts of the country. And therefore, certainly there is an impact of these extreme weather events on these extreme weather events due to the increasing greenhouse gases-led global warming or the climate change.
Okay.
But everything is not attributed. For example, we can attribute the occurrence of frequency of heavy rainfall, but at the same time, total amount of rainfall is not affected by the climate change.
So clearly, it's just not the climate change. That's what Dr. Mahapatra is saying. Of course, most of it is attributable to that. But Dr. Dhawan, when we look at various factors and when we're talking about their impact as well, and it's right now we're talking about India, but this is not limited to India only. The recent, events across the globe in terms of changes in the monsoon pattern or various other climate changes when we look at. Looks like it's a global phenomenon also. Or are we wrong to assume that?
You're absolutely right. And that is what we are witnessing in China. And last year we faced in New York, Germany, and so on. So what we are saying is that the temperature of the earth is rapidly increasing. And that increase in temperature, in a way, is impacting the monsoon circulation. If we look at since 1951 in our own country, the monsoon circulation has weakened, especially in the regions like Western Ghats and Indo-Gangetic plains. And simultaneously, incidence of localized heavy rainfall has increased. And what has also increased is the duration of the dry spells between the rainy days during the monsoon itself. So it is a global phenomenon. And that is what I said, that initially it can be region specific in the sense what is happening in terms of emissions, in terms of increase in temperature in India. But then it is impacted at the global level. It is also impacted by the emissions in countries around us. So it is not something that water will be absorbed and will be evaporated and it will at the same time it will fall 10 kilometers from there. We are talking of a global phenomenon. So, and temperatures, emissions, everything which is impacting the monsoon.
Okay. Dr. Mal, a quick concluding comment from you in terms of, looks like the large part of the solution to this challenge which we are facing in terms of change in monsoon patterns and the way it impacts us, extreme weather events as well, is to deal with the issue of climate change. Will that be the right path ahead?
Yes, two things we are discussing about: local or global. So Indian monsoon are affected by the global situation, as we see on the coast of Peru, that warming of sea affecting our monsoon. This is very long-term phenomena. And you see the cloud burst like situation. And sometimes you see nowadays a rainfall around the very big city or metro city that we are seeing due to heat island. Recently, some studies focusing on due to the situation of city and what landscape city is there and how warming takes place in heat, and that is we are calling heat island. That is also locally affecting the heavy rainfall pattern and leeward side and a side of rainfall. Sometimes witnessing more rainfall are there. Some studies reporting on that. Maybe India Meteorological Department and Dr. Mahapatra may focus on this thing also, how the heat island is affecting local rainfall and how the local land use pattern, aerosols, and other localized pattern and land use pattern, how they are affecting our this type of cloud burst situation. Is it anything? You can ask this to Dr.
Okay. Indeed. That would be a wonderful aspect to go ahead and discuss. But I'm afraid we're running very short of time. We will have to, bring an end to this discussion. But we can further continue as well. Thank you so much, Dr. Mahapatra, Dr. Dhawan, as well as Dr. Mal for sharing your views and insight. As our experts were pointing out, of course, we're facing a lot of challenge here when we're talking about the change in monsoon patterns. It's just not about some less rain on some days or heavy rainfall on the other days. There is a larger pattern behind that. If you look at the data set, as our experts were pointing out, it is partly contributed to towards the global phenomena of climate change, but also some local factors as well. We'll further have more analysis and discussion on this topic and bring you many others as well. Till then, keep watching Sansad Television. Thank you.